where were you when you started with us, and where are you now? That's probably a good place to get started in terms of the size of your business.
Yes. So when it was summer last year, I was basically left without any actual work because all of the pre-summer stuff was done and was in the limbo. There was small bits and pieces here and there, but basically it wasn't a business. I had enough running to basically pay the basic minimum salary and no money on the private account and no idea what to do next. That was the main reason why I scrambled the last money I could from the business with basically 6 months cash max potential and said, let's go for this. Today, I am fully booked and on pace to surpass my initial goals for the business at the beginning, which is 15 months ago, by at least 50%, maybe several 100% more just this year. So it's almost 9 months since I joined, but in these 9 months, of course, lots of ups and downs, but everything fell into place.
Amazing. Right now, you mentioned you have five active clients. Is that right? Did I get that right?
5 active clients, of which 3 paying retainer and diverse clients in 5 different countries.
Amazing. And also there is a strong element of like conditional payouts, right, upon success in case of a sale gets made and so on. So there's retainers plus then a considerable upside if things go well, right?
Yes, which is the basic reason why I wanted to start my own business, is to have this upside potential. And I found myself in a situation in which this is possible. And it was a very grueling process to get there. But right now, I'm very excited about the future.
Amazing. I love it. So when we look at this gap of 9 months that we've been working together, where would you say, and be perfectly honest, how much would you credit the Alpha Lead Academy with this kind of growth from basically not having almost anything to now 5 clients happy and optimistic about the business? To where would you, how much are we to positively blame for this, our collaboration?
It is very difficult to say direct link, but there are aspects of the Alpha Lead Academy that made it possible. Because I learned stuff that I wouldn't have learned on my own in that period that enabled getting all these clients.
Interesting. Like what?
So, for example, first thing is general mindset about building consulting business, which I learned to focus more on developing the scope of potential projects, funnel, and focus on numbers and statistics. So basically measure my efficiency in getting potential clients one level down through the funnel, and then realizing that I need to expand the funnel if the math doesn't work. Basically, all the world of potential weighted by individual probability of getting a deal was not enough. Then you need to expand the funnel, and that was extremely important because now I have 5 clients, of which 4 are new, but those 4 new clients are a result of something I started developing since 6 months ago, 8 months ago. And that was the time when I realized, don't focus on 3-4 very high potential, low probability. Don't focus on many high probability, focus on adequate number in terms of their expected value and probability. So create yourself a universe of opportunities in which, after statistics get applied, it's just a matter of time when you are going to succeed. That principle of thinking is something that I completely didn't know anything about, because I developed my career in corporation and I knew how to deal with complex problems, did many amazing stuff, The only thing I never learned is how to get stuff to do. It always trickled down on me from the top. So the key aspect of building up business was never in my toolbox. And here was not the tools that I took from Alpha Lead Academy, but principle of thinking that at the end made it possible. So the basic change was, okay, let's not focus on several high paying, but low probability. Let's create a world of opportunities. So we tried 3 or 4 different kind of approaches in cold outreach, warm outreach, different kinds of video messages, live meetings, and none of them directly work, but all of them to some extent opened up a window that at some point of time down the road actually converted into an opportunity.
Yeah. I also think that, yes, none of them necessarily have worked in like a direct straight line where you did X and then Y came out of it. But also I would surmise, and I wonder what you think about that, is that probably with more time and more effort, more tweaking, they would have worked. The thing is, it's not like you need, 50 clients. For you 5 clients is now, you're probably quite busy, as you told me, you're gonna have a very busy summer. So it's not like you have to perfect every single one of those client acquisition methods. But the fact that you simply, there was a critical amount of action that you developed. You just did enough so that you got in front of the right people, you caught up, you networked in the right way, and then you also quite possibly had like a relatively calm and poised demeanor because you had so many things going on in terms of client acquisition that you probably might not have been as nervous when you were in a sales scenario that otherwise you would have been if this is like the only thing that is that you have going for you at any given point. Would that be a correct assessment?
Yes, and it gets me to the, let's say, critical lesson number 2, and that is detachment from the sales process. Like the first one was, okay, what am I trying to achieve? A world of opportunities. And then the second one is each individual opportunity doesn't mean anything to me. Meaning I don't attach myself to it. It doesn't need to succeed. I need to fix the world and I need to do things right way, and statistics will take care of me at the end. So that was like very critical lesson, because before Alpha Lead Academy, I was too much focused on perfecting individual pitches, individual offers, wasting too much time on trying to nail that particular project. Now I learned, no, it's about principle of closing potential client for the next thing, getting him closer to accept the offer.
Perfect.
Lesson number 3, I got burned several times because I didn't think about it clear enough before Alpha Lead Academy, is talk to decision maker. That was really big one. And one lesson in addition was how to leverage the content creation. I think
let's quickly stay with the third one just for a second.
Yeah, no
about
problem.
the decision makers. So you mentioned that there were a couple of instances where you thought that things would be happening, and then you got the cold shower because you were not talking to the decision maker, right? Is that the background to the lesson?
Exactly. So the method of client acquisition was correct. The approach and tactics of doing it, tailoring the offer, everything was fine. Just the counterparty was not correct. And I would have saved quite a lot of time and hope and mental, let's say, health. Should have beforehand checked, is this particular person able to make a decision on this? Because it's not enough that people like you and want to work with you and recognize value. They also need to be in charge of budget to pay you.
Absolutely.
And that is something I learned through Alpha Lead Academy. So as said, it's indirect. It's not direct. Like you don't apply it in daily client acquisition process. But for example, one of these new 4 clients, it was a situation in which I realized immediately not to waste too much time in discussing with my point of contact, but actually escalating this to his boss. First, to clear it up, if this could work. And only after we got that buy-in did we tailor the offer at the end that worked both for my contact, and we already knew it's going to get accepted by the decision maker.
Perfect. That's so great to hear. Okay, great. So that was lesson number 3. So tell me about lesson 4. What was it about content that you learned?
So I learned the most important principle of content is that you have content. Just by having content, I'm able to be in front of people. That's something that I learned. And of course, it's about value you deliver. So not your offer, but like talk about stuff that help people that they want to hear about. And that's how my biggest client now found me, just through content. At the end, we made a deal to work together. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't aware before that what was it about the content, and the principles of how do I make content, how much of it I put out, what shape it should be, little techniques around it. That's all. I learned all of that on Alpha Lead Academy.
It's great to hear. That was a video, right? That this yes. future client stumbled over. One of the things that I sometimes hear from people who live in this private equity space is that private equity people, they're not on LinkedIn. Would you say this is wrong?
It's changing. It's changing quite a lot. There are more and more people very active on LinkedIn, mm-hmm. And it is interesting. From the whole population of private equity, a small number is on LinkedIn, but those people that are on LinkedIn are very receptive to the content on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So maybe you're not penetrating the whole world of it, but those that can read or listen, it's very critical potential connection for anybody who wants to service that world. And those are the things that I learned. And now I'm going to experiment quite a lot, both on LinkedIn, but maybe even on Twitter or other platforms, to figure out where my audience, or let's say where the audience of potential clients can be, mm-hmm. and how to get to them.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, man. I'm so glad to hear that. It was quite the ride, and you definitely made a lot of progress. And I saw that also, like in terms of how well your content, how good your content was towards the end. You really developed in that regard quite a lot. So big kudos and congratulations. Thanks. On how well it worked for you.
And let's say the last thing that I want to mention, it's not a lesson, it's not a tool, piece of advice, it's not that tangible, but it's all encompassing and supporting everything else. It's about mindset. Mindset calls with Anna, and general mindset that I developed listening to everybody else on weekly meetings. It helped me tremendously in not just in developing business, but developing myself as a person. I mean, I'm, for example, somebody who struggled being overweight for 20 plus years. Lost 8 kilos since the beginning of the year, only through mindset. It's no magic formula, nothing, no Ozempic, nothing special. It was just realizing that it is up to me and I have to do it, and how I knew how to do it, or how to learn how to do it. It's not a rocket science, but it is important. So, I learned how to get away from potential work that was not, let's say, getting me to my goal, how to say no and be okay with it, how to receive no and be okay with it. And those are kind of stuff that are just pure psychological concepts that you need to take together with you on meetings, on projects, in sales calls. And that is something that really Alpha Lead Academy probably helped me the most, because it is maybe just coincidence, but I believe not to be the case, that once I fixed my head, things started falling into place.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a business cliche that you have no business problems, you have personal problems that also manifest in business, right? And so it's one of the best examples of this being true. As much of a cliche as it is, it's true.
Yeah, and I was one of the apostles of believing this being a cliche, and then getting completely washed by reality of what's going on once you work on your mindset.
Amazing. Well, Pavle, this is great. Is there anything we could have done better in terms of the Alpha Lead Academy? Any way how we could have served you better?
I guess we could have had a little bit more, let's say, effort at the beginning, which I find being my fault as well, on figuring out what it is that I should try to develop as a business. We did touch on it, but I think we didn't go deep enough. And that would allow me to refine even better techniques that I learned on the, let's say, funnel development and outreach methodology that you're teaching. And that would have worked better in terms of developing a proper client acquisition model. However, on the other side, it might have taken me away from the type of projects I closed and I'm working on right now. So in, let's say, big picture, long term, it's questionable if that would have been better, but I would definitely yield more value from the program itself if we worked more at the beginning on clearly defining what it is that I should do. That might be also the fact that I was really early, and I'm still very early in private business. It might be completely relevant for people that have 5 years already under their belt and are struggling to have a client acquisition model, because, you know, they already should have relatively clear picture about what it is they're doing, what are their clients, etc.
Yeah. So, and also my approach here was that, and this is not to justify anything, but it's effectively, let's just go with one thing and see how that works, right? So let's just have something that is reasonably plausible, and let's go with that. Maybe, and I totally see, maybe we should have spent more time thinking about this and rejecting some of those earlier assumptions that we had, instead of just throwing something against the wall.
As said, I'm not sure, but maybe that's one area where this could have worked better for me. But again, I understand how difficult it is to design such a comprehensive method for development of client acquisition model that works in every single instance for every type of business. General, I think there are like two ends of spectrum of your clients. On one side, those are low ticket, high volume, almost product-like items that people sell. On the other side, it's one client, it's 6 months, huge ticket, very, very low probability of getting each individual one. I was much closer to this end of the spectrum. I would say at the beginning of my time with Alpha Lead Academy, vast majority of clients were on the other side. But it evolved through time. Now it's a little bit more balanced. But I think people should look at Alpha Lead Academy more as a toolbox, not a tool set.
Yes, I agree. And we're also developing it in this way, right? It's kind of growing into more of almost like an app store. We now have like external coaches also serving others. So it's definitely going in this direction.
And that is, for example, one thing that I plan to do is once dust settles and I realize how much and when do I have opportunities, I definitely plan to take a try on one of your apps.
Yeah, definitely.
To continue developing myself.
Absolutely. And the door is always open for you to return.